Hey guys, what's up? It's your boy Agent Koala. Quick introduction. I am Agent Koala and I specialize in Elliott wave theory. I'm going to break down the ETF known as SPY. This is kind of my forte. What I'm really seeing going into the rest of the week is two options that will kind of judge what we see happening by the end of the week. And we'll leave it up to Apple to make the final decision, of course. The current pattern I'm tracking is a leading diagonal on SPY, um, which we have right here. This kind of lead and diagonal kind of represents our white wave A. Um, it is a little more clear on the ES, so we'll quick look at it. When you get a lead and diagonal, you get a wave one, two, three, four, five, and we should get a rejection either here or maybe a little higher, and then we kind of see a move down to what I like to call a bullish and bearish converging point. So this bullish and bearish converging point is that it's literally two scenarios that converge into one point that target a similar price target. For me, these are pretty accurate, and I see them play out the majority of the time. So from the converging point at 356, we could see a move up to 400 or a move down to 310. Those are my two larger macro scenarios, but the the pattern the macro scenario that I'm leaning more towards is this scenario. See, we get a wave A, B, and then C up. This would kind of give us a chance to shake out the rest of the bears, and then get bulls overly excited here, followed by a massive down move. And probably over the next week or two, we should be once we start this wave three down, we should see a pretty massive move to the downside from there. But back to this, kind of what I'm seeing going into the rest of the week is that this this leading diagonal is invalidated if we go higher than 381. If we see higher than 381, then I'm kind of expecting to see 400 sooner rather than later. And like I said, it would be based on what Apple does. So if Apple decides it wants to grind up to 154 or higher, I think that's going to drag SPY with it, leading up to earnings. So by Thursday, I think if Apple drags SPY up and up and up until earnings, I think that will be the sign that says, hey, Apple's about to have crap earnings. So we should see 356. Or if we stay stagnant up here, we should still see 356. But if we start moving above 381, um, above 382, 383, then I'm kind of leaning more towards that. We're going to rip to 400 and that the B is already in. So this is what I was expecting B to happen. But as you see here, that we kind of broke down out of this pattern, out of this like channel, and this could have been our B. It could have very well have been our B, and if it was, because we met the minimum requirement down here at the 386 retrace, so this could be our B and it's already in, and then we just rip to 400. So that's kind of why 381 is kind of my invalidation point, in that we will see the top of 381 pretty soon. But if we do get a rejection here, then I'm full on expecting 356. I swung puts with low theta and low gamma and delta to um, in the hope that we do see 356 first. So that's kind of where I'm at right now. But I swung kind of a smaller position than I would usually swing. So I swung 1/3 of the size that I would usually swing because, like I said, there's so much uncertainty here. As you can tell, this massive this massive consolidation period is has been, a mindfuck for everybody. No one single trader has been able to accurately map out this, and this is due to this black box right here. This black box, I call this the reaping hour. If we pivot from this, I call this the reaping hour. Um, I had this here for quite a while, and when we're in this black box, it's just chaos, and it's like there's no liquidity, or there's a lack of there. Um, and we saw this black box have the same effect a while back when we were down at June lows. This lasted a month. We are nearing a month of long-lasting consolidation. So, is it going to be similar to here where we rip out and we start making a nasty little run? Or are we consolidating for the next real move down to the downside? So that's kind of like the two options I see. And if we do if we do rip out, the highest I can only imagine it going is 400. That is the highest. And then we'll have a massive crash. And that kind of lines up with the timeline because we wanted to see this midterm slight rally, and that's kind of how it's been historically. We get that midterm rally, and then if it's if it's been it was a bear market before the rally, before the midterm rally, then it's going to be a bear market after, and we're gonna like rip to the downside shortly after. So I'm thinking around December to January is when we get this massive move to below 300. um so back to Apple earnings, which should be dog water as their largest revenue generator on a yearly basis got thwarted by a lack of demand, so they stopped production. Um, but they turned around and quickly said they're just gonna up their subscription-based services. But I'm not sure how much of that will really save them from the loss they will receive from the lack of production. But as you can tell from Tesla, decent earnings got nuked on. Netflix shit earnings and rips, and it's just nothing makes sense. And it goes back to this black box. It's supposed to be that way. This is where they're coming to take your money. They're going to take all the money that you earned short from here. If you were shorting, they're going to take it all here. Um, yeah, that's what I'm looking for. That's what I'm looking for going into the rest of the week. It's gonna be based off of what Apple does. If Apple slowly rises leading up to earnings, I think we nuke. If it doesn't, and if it doesn't, and we start nuking before and we drop down to 356, then I'll say, okay, Apple's earnings is about to, rally the market back to 400. And that's where we'll see that short squeeze. So it's really up to Apple at this point. Um, I wanted Apple to be back at 128, but we did not get that. We got close though. We were at 133, I believe it was. So close to getting there. And I feel like Apple has some unfinished business left down there, so I think it will eventually get there. That is inevitable, in my opinion. Apple will be below 128, and you heard that from Agent Koala. So my plan is simple. I swung puts into the next day to fill out the local top because I felt like we were getting up to that top where we should get a rejection. I bought my puts for December 16th, 345 strike with plenty of time. This was a low delta, low theta swing, right? So the loss is going to be minuscule to compare to if I swung a higher delta, higher theta contract expiring in a couple of weeks. That's just not going to be the play right now. If your goal is to be consistent in the market, you need to really focus on those low delta, low theta trades. Um, Also managing your size, one to three of the position that you're used to swinging right now, because there's no directional movement right now. This is just all chop, and it's anybody's guess what's going to happen from here. Um, so yeah, that's it for me, boys. Let's have a great rest of the week, and I'd like to just give a shout out to our partners at BingeX for making this happen. Those that don't know, BingeX, sorry, let me go back. BingX is an amazing trading platform for leveraged crypto and trading commodities. You can trade the S&P 500 with leverage, so you can get 50 times leverage, 100 times leverage. It's practically the same thing at trading options when you're trading with leverage, but you don't have to worry about theta or IV or any of that. So it's actually pretty good, and I will at times use that if I can't get into a position on SPY, or if I've already swung a position but now I've changed my mind, and I will go on BingX and open up 100 times leverage just to be able to hedge my position properly. So it's a really great tool for hedging your position because you don't have to worry about theta, you don't have to worry about IV, you don't have to worry about none of that. We also offer in our Discord only exclusive $1,300 in bonus cash every single week with our partners at BingX. That is insane. Like, you could be making 5 grand in bonus cash every month. So just keep that in mind. I'm gonna have a link in the description. Um, yeah, so join us for our Discord for more exclusive updates, trade alerts, and educational contents. Until then, see you next time.